in blue hell am I doing on a Thursday night? Oh, I know. It's time for another edition of 6 Feet Underground, otherwise known as Reapers Underground, here on Three Witches Entertainment. And we have a very special edition tonight because if I can pull this up real quick, that's right. I got Locomotive Gun with me tonight. With John Carter, who I believe is the guitarist vocalist.
Yep.
Sweet. So I'm already off to a good start. Fantastic. As they're about to play a show in my new backyard of Omaha, Nebraska. But before we get into that, first we got to take a quick break with our sponsor, my new sponsor, and I love them, throttleaddict.com. Check it out. Man, you don't even have to be somebody that owns the Iron Horse to love that shit. Not only do they have a men's line, of course, but they also have a women's line that is just out of sight. So, as a matter of fact, I got my new one on tonight. And if you liked what you saw out there through Three Witches Land Reaper Nation, please get your ass to throttleaddict.com. Use my special code, Reaper all caps, and get 15% off your order. All right. So once again, we got Locomotive Gun with us tonight. John, how you doing, brother?
Doing great. How about you?
Not too bad. Crazy as ever and always ready to go. So you have a show tomorrow night. Why don't we go ahead and start right there?
Yeah. We're playing actually with, we're opening up for one of my favorite new kind of like punk and roll bands, the Ravagers from Baltimore. They've got like they're sick. They got kind of like a Dead Boys kind of vibe, you know, real kind of like a late 70s sort of like trashy garage punk kind of vibe. Really cool. They do it like to a T. I mean, what's really great is Alex Hagen, the guitar player and singer. He's in bands like Rumbler. He's a phenomenal fashion designer. He designs stuff for Straight to Hell clothing, and there's just a solid band. Everything they do is just stellar. They got like great videos, great the packaging, and they're one of those bands that like every single detail is on point. And also on that same tour with them is Susie Moon, she used to play bass for the Hellcat Records band Civette. She plays guitar and sings.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, dude, she's nuts. I mean, she's basically, a lot of people want to compare her to Joan Jett just because she's a girl that plays guitar, but like I've heard interviews where she doesn't even listen to
Doesn't
Joan
that
Jett.
always fucking happen every time some girl with dark hair starts, fucking shredding up the guitar? Oh, you're just like Joan Jett. Bitch, I don't sound nothing like Joan Jett.
And she's awesome because she's told people in interviews, she's like, I'm not I see the comparison, but I don't even listen to Joan Jett, you know? So,
you see? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
People just, I don't know. It's weird how they think.
I mean, a lot of people want to lump people into categories, and they want to, I bet with your band, people are probably like, oh yeah, you guys are a death metal band. Like, well, we're actually death metal, doom, black, blah, everything that you guys bring to the table, but still they want to take that one element that they see level
and just
then
categorize you, put you in a box.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so these two
everybody
bands
here at Three Witches Land knows that I absolutely hate these little subgenre boxes that they try to stick us in. And I mean, we're just a doom metal, sludge metal band. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, and you know that you're wrong because you don't. I mean, you don't know what your own band is until someone tells you what it is. You know.
Sadly, yes, because when you get into marketing and shit like that, they automatically go, okay, we think you'll be great for this type of crowd, So
Yeah.
stop what you're doing, change your look, and we'll just make that happen. Well, that was
Yeah.
what was different about, Black Tar. We didn't give a fuck. We know our influences. We know what we love. Doesn't matter how we package it. We're delivering, really good, doom sludge metal. And that's
Absolutely.
very evident with you guys. And I was looking over, you had shared the flyer the other day.
Mhm.
And I was like, kind of just like scrolling through all your hashtags, and I fucking loved them. And I'm like, yeah, I think we're on the same level quite a bit. Anything from heavy metal to rock to metalhead, thrash metal, death metal, black metal, which is a love of mine, doom metal, just everything. And that's really what it's all about, because at the end of the day, it's just great fucking metal. Whether
Yeah.
it's sped the fuck up, slowed down, you can get high or drunk, whatever, your fucking devil's pleasure. And, have a fucking go at it.
See, and that's just the thing
However
about,
you
I
like
mean,
to unwind.
you nailed it, because originally when I started Locomotive Gun, I am a huge Motorhead fan and a huge Kiss fan.
Oh, fuck
Like
yeah. Let
those, I mean,
me.
yeah, dude. I mean, and the thing of it is, it's just kind of like seeing that I came up in punk rock and roll was a big part of it, but also too, I love hardcore, I love death metal, black metal, and thrash, and I was just like, well, how can I incorporate all of it without it being so obvious that I'm incorporating all of it? You know what I'm saying?
No, no
So,
doubt.
so originally, are you familiar with the band Chrome Division, which is Shagrath from Jimmy Boger's kind of rock and roll band that he did for a while?
Okay, yeah. And
Yeah,
Old Man's Child.
absolutely. Yeah. And like one thing I really loved about Chrome Division was they had the singer from a band called the Carburetors, which were I think Norwegian, wherever Dimmu is from, Norway or Sweden or whatever. But there's this
Eh,
great, yeah, it's all the
somewhere
same.
in the land of the ice and snow.
Exactly. The cold places where, subtitles are needed. But the thing about it is, I really like the fact that like guys from Dimmu and guys from a punk rock and roll band like the Carburetors
Fuck yeah.
combined forces to bring a really super, just a heavier rock and roll. And that's my thing, is just kind of like, I love how Motorhead was one of those bands you could not classify them. They're
Nope.
metal, they were
He
punk,
refused.
exactly. And like Lemmy would come out on stage and he'd say, "We're Motorhead, we play rock and roll." But they go, "Oh, well, you guys are heavy, so we're going to put you guys on tour, with these heavier bands." And I mean, they took, man, they took everybody out on the road, and that's what I loved about Motorhead. And then like Kiss, like Kiss was my first love. That was my gateway band to everything. And one thing I loved about Kiss was you'd go back and you look at the old flyers. They played with everybody from Anthrax in the '80s,
They
to
really did.
Meatloaf, to
I
Cheap
give them
Trick.
that. Mm-hmm.
And
They
that's
weren't
just the
always
thing.
packaged in with the hair guys.
Exactly. That didn't really happen until they were like in the '80s, going, "What the fuck do we do next? We got big hair, so I guess we can go there." So they, of course, fucked.
While I was listening to like King Diamond, Merciful Fate, Black
Absolutely,
Sabbath,
yeah. And I grew up in a small
Slayer,
town, pre-internet time, where we'd go to the local grocery store and look at the metal magazines, and that's how
and
we knew what the
Hit
fuck was going
Parader
on.
all day long.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
dude, for
long
real.
before Kerrang even came around for us.
And so like my influences when I was a kid was basically, hey, that looks fucking crazy. I want some of that. That's even crazier. I want that too. And then you go so far, and then you go, okay, wait a minute. Where do where's my middle ground? And so over the years, I've sang for hardcore bands. I've played bass in punk rock bands. I've been in metal bands and stuff. And then I finally got to a certain stage where it's like, it's like, I want to write rock and roll that's fucking caveman, stripped down, but heavy. So we played in drop D on the older stuff, but now we play in drop C. We're a trio. It's just straight ahead, a little bit more on the doomier side of things.
Sure.
Nowadays, we're recording some new stuff next month or whatever. But I mean, Gun has a very storied history of just trying to find the right guys and failing at it miserably over and over again.
Oh
You know,
man, I'll tell you real quick before we get into that next thing. Hello, Queen of the South, Kelly Garcia. Thank you for joining. And LP, my brother from up north in Canada. Tales from the Oracle in the house. Thank you for being with us. And it was quite funny. Kelly she always has these little zingers for us. Sometimes those hair metal bands sneak in there on you. They were kind of like a bad, pimple on the ass of humanity. But they were there and they were fun. They did their thing. I get it. I know everybody fun. That was me in a music video, by the way.
That's awesome.
Oh, I play a great devil, don't I?
Yeah.
Who wants to Who wants to see Reaper and play the devil in a movie? I know I do. Anyway, I digress. So, yeah, man, let's talk about that for a minute. We're here with Locomotive Gun. I'm not sure what just happened there, why that popped up. Okay, excellent. Shit, the spirits do what they want to do. Anyway, so yeah, man, I remember we talked a little bit ago, before this week about how you've had kind of a hard go at it, keeping just getting the band started and then trying to keep the members and all that stuff going. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Okay, well, basically, I'm going to try to condense this as much as I can because there's a bunch of fucking minutia that doesn't really matter to people watching at home. But kind of really what happened was I moved to North Carolina back in 2007. And my whole thing was I wanted to start like a heavy kind of Motorhead meets Guns N' Roses meets Black Sabbath meets Black Flag kind of thing, right?
Holy shit.
So, yeah,
dude. Quite the cornucopia.
Yeah, because basically any band that starts with the word black, I wanted to throw it in, But
yeah. So you pretty much get, itemized the moment you throw the word black in there somewhere.
I'll take it all fucking day. That's fine with me.
Most
so, but I played bass in a lot of bands and I sang for a lot of bands, and I was playing bass in a band called Dead Man's Hand, which was kind of like a straight ahead rock and roll punk band. And I moved to North Carolina, so I was like, I wanted to continue on. So I basically took the song title from one of our songs, Locomotive Gun, and which was a song that I wrote. I rewrote it, named the band Locomotive Gun, and I was like, okay, I'm in North Carolina now. Where the fuck are the musicians? Let's go. Let's find some people. And in the meantime, like shortly thereafter, I fell into a hardcore band called Down to This that I sang for 11 fucking years.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we were signed to 3 labels. We fucking we played with like so many of my favorite like hardcore and metal bands over the years. Great fucking run. But in the meantime, throughout the whole time, I was trying to do Locomotive Gun and have that kind of going. So I have my bass
that's
player.
Fucking hard to do, man.
Woo! Yeah, I mean, it was rough because it's like, okay, I'm singing for Down to This. So okay, I show up and fucking blah 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 with my fucking notebook, and then the other band, I'm writing songs. Because I was a bass player, and then I started playing guitar. I taught myself how to play guitar. Of course, with me being a caveman ass bass player, I became a caveman ass fucking guitar player. So it's like I'm playing in drop tuning, fat fucking strings. I'm playing guitar through a fucking Ampeg 810 cabinet, and it's just gnarly. So finally, I grabbed my bass player from Down to This, and we're like, hey, let's do this thing. And we had a drummer that bailed out on us to join the Navy. Whatever, that's fine. I completely
life fucking happens, man. It really does. You just never know who's gonna be the lifer and who isn't. You know what I mean? And I've had that fucking problem.
Oof. Yeah, and when you deal with, and if you have band members that are in the military, it's always going to be really precarious.
You never know when they're going to come back.
Yeah, and so he left, and then Down to This got signed. And we put out, our first real thing, and then we played a bunch of shows and stuff like that. And then things kind of slowed down, as they do. And me and my bass player from Down to This, like, let's try to find a drummer for Locomotive Gun. So we found a guy. He kind of helped us kind of work some things out. So we got our set going, and then he ended up being insane as they are. And we had a couple of lead guitar players come through that were either on every single drug under the sun or completely insane. And so it was just like we couldn't win for losing. So after we got our set, played a couple shows, Down to This gets signed to another label, puts out another another full length or the first full length. Do that for
Sure.
a while. That slows down, and then me and John, the bass player, were like, "Hey, let's fuck with Locomotive Gun again," right? So by that time, we had about 8 songs. We found another guy, and so okay, we got a good lineup. And then all of a sudden, life hit hard for my bassist, and we
Oof.
went through a series of bassists. And then my drummer decided he wanted to do something heavier, and then come to find out that this guy was completely not who I thought he was. I mean, when you live in a small town that's stuck to a military base in North Carolina, you kind of have
Mm.
to take what you can get. And this
For
is,
sure.
I'd like to say this is no disrespect, and I don't mean any harsh words, but fuck them. The only person that I played with in that band that's worth a fuck is my old bassist John. He's a goddamn saint, and everybody else that fucking came in, tried to change things, came in, wanted to do whatever. It's just like, you know what? You're not doing this because, for a reason. Because you know what I mean. You're not here because you're not fucking here. So that kind of like turned into this and that, and then Down to This was on its fucking fourth lineup. New album comes out, blah blah blah. We do a
Damn.
discography album. Things are going fucking great, right? So, but the thing about it is, the guys that are in the band, they have small children and all this kind of stuff. So then all of a sudden, COVID hits. Okay, so right before COVID hit, the amazing and powerful Gabe Saldivar from KingSide Records hits me up wanting
Yay.
all hail
The
Gabe.
wizard.
Yeah, dude. So him and I have a conversation about uh, doing an album for Down to This, and
Mhm.
because the other guys in the band wanted to do something else after a while, being that I was on my second guitar player, my fifth drummer, and my old bassist had come back for the third time, and so I was like, okay, well, let's go ahead and try to do this. And then they weren't having it, and so I was like, hey Gabe, I got this other band, Locomotive Gun, check it out. And he, by the grace of Lucifer, decided to give it a shot. And I was just like, okay, cool. I'm like, are you sure? Are you positive? So I just got a new lineup. I got a new drummer. I got a lead guitar player for the first fucking time. It was one of the first time we were not a trio. And we had about 16 tour dates booked. And then COVID hit, canceled all of them, of course. And
Man, that
our
hit everybody hard.
Oh yeah, but the thing of it is our first EP, a 5-song EP that's on all the streaming platforms right now, with our with my old drummer Howard, he's an amazing person, and we had this rando fucking lead guitar player guy who, whatever, he's no longer in the picture. He's gone.
We've had plenty of
Um,
those.
yeah, dude, it's whatever. It's inconsequential. Time.
Oh,
It's a
for
fuck.
sure.
He was a fucking time waster. So later, but so anyway, we had the EP comes out, and then all of a sudden yeah, COVID hits, and then me and my wife decide that you know what, we miss the Midwest. We have a lot of family out here. My parents are getting older.
There's a lot of peace out here that I never knew existed.
Man.
Especially with, Black Tar being born during COVID,
Oh
which
wow,
fucking sucked.
really?
Yeah, that's when we first got together. So I'm like listening to you talking about COVID. And I'm like, man, we've finally got the Fab Four, at least, of the underworld in Satan's playground. And we don't have a stage.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty rough. And we put our first EP out in 2020, and we were just basically internet success. I was on there every day, 4 to 6 hours a day, just talking to fans, talking to other bands and shit, sharing music, and everybody just pulled together. That's what I love about the underground. We care about one another, and that's what it's all about. Fuck the mainstream. Mainstream can suck my fucking asshole. I don't
There's
care.
there's
You know
no
what I'm
need
saying?
for there's no need for the mainstream anymore, anyways, because
Ah, it's
if you can
all
work if
bullshit.
yeah, if you can network social media, and if you can promote your band well, I mean, you can put together any type of band that sounds however you want it to sound, with no pop sensibilities. But if you present it to the right people and you work hard at it and you just stay consistent, it doesn't matter. I mean, with what you guys did during COVID, that's phenomenal, because it's just kind of like, well, everybody was at home, everybody was on their phones, on their computers, so you guys struck gold at the right time, and that's awesome.
Well, we discovered a ham hock way of doing a live stream show.
That's awesome.
That was the only way people could see that, we didn't just create the music like, it was just one person or whatever. It's like, no, we're an actual fucking band.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
heavy. Yeah, that's
So,
really.
man, you finally got the band going in the direction that you wanted it to be. And then COVID knocks all your tour dates out. Man, that fucking sucks balls.
Yeah, it was crazy because, and at that time, it's just like all kinds of stuff was going on in my personal life, and
Well,
you know,
sure.
and it was just, I mean, it was crazy. So we moved we moved back to Sioux City, Iowa, which has pretty much been my stomping grounds throughout like the uh you know basically the mid 90s. I graduated high school in 94. So I lived there off and on from about 94, back and forth from North Carolina over the years. And me and my wife were like, this is where we want to be. It's cool, and it's just, it's a dingy fucking town that's kind of like, it's got like a small town vibe, but like a fucking filthy, like urban kind of like, thing going on. And it's cool. I mean, I was in my first bands in this town.
For
I have,
sure.
I have some friends that, that I would die for. They're just great fucking people. So what was really
Never
cool,
left.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, either they never left or they made it work. You know what I'm saying? So that's a
Yeah,
fucking
for
great
sure.
point, Reaper. Yeah, I mean, because like a lot of them, they just, I mean, and I have a lot of friends that have moved away. Some of my really close friends live out in the Seattle area now that are from here, the
Mm-hmm.
Minneapolis area. And which is great. So, but what's really great is I'm still connected to a lot of these people and have a lot of good contacts
Oh,
still
absolutely.
because it's like my music family, you know what I mean? And it's cool because it's
Yeah.
all different genres. I mean, everything from like, punk rock to like avant-garde noise to death metal, to everything. And which is really cool because we all still help each other out. So this is where me and my wife decided we wanted to be. And so what I did was I kind of pooled my resources and got a hold of some fantastic musicians that I've known for years that wanted to do this with me, and went through little bit of trial and error. No bad blood, no hard feelings. Everyone's still cool, and finally stumbled upon one of my old friends from one of the first people that I really ever met when I moved back here, moved here back in '93. My friend Jory Aarons, phenomenal fucking drummer, Sioux City punk rock legend, great guy.
Nice.
He did a stint in the Kansas City band in the '90s, Season to Risk for a while. Spent a lot of time out in California doing studio stuff like that. So anyway, we just the stars aligned, and we bumped into each other at a John Five show actually,
Oh, shit.
locally, and
That's one of my producer's favorite guitar players.
dude, that show was insane. So we just started
He's got
talking,
quite the
and
pick collection.
absolutely, dude, isn't it crazy how pick collecting has become such a big thing now? Like
It's
that's
fucking huge.
yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude. I mean,
He's got
I
like
never.
two fucking wall sized fucking, pick things to
Picture
display.
frames. They're picture frames. Completely
Picture
fucking
frame.
full.
Sorry.
Dude.
They're huge.
So yeah, so I start jamming with, and what was crazy because like just like anybody else, COVID hit him hard too. The
Yeah,
economy, but he's his own boss, and he has his own business doing construction and stuff like that. So he was
hmm
able to survive that really well. And around
that's
the
good.
time, yeah, around the time when everything was shut down, he was doing construction, and then he fucked his arm up, and then he had all these setbacks, and finally, after like just
Oof.
months and months of us talking about it, we finally get in the room and start jamming, and we just clicked like fucking clockwork. It was great. And so I was like,
Boys.
okay, cool. We got a fucking, we got a drummer, and got me, and he learned the songs fucking, so quick. And then my friend Joe Hansen, who has been kind of like a mainstay in the local scene around here. He was in some bands in kind of like the mid early 2000s that toured all over the country. This band called Ghost of Guyana, a really fucking great band. And he was in this band called Black Death Jet Set, which is a really fucking just
I
awesome,
actually
just
think I've heard
ambient.
of it. Hmm.
Yeah, they did quite a bit of stuff, and he was in a band that he wasn't really feeling. I came into that band to kind of help it out. We decided that wasn't a thing, so we both dipped out together. And I was like, hey, do you want to play lead guitar for Locomotive Gun? We'll find a bass player, blah blah blah. And so he's like, well, fuck it, I'll just play bass. So there we go. We got Joe Hansen on bass, and we got Jory Aarons on drums, and me on guitar and vocals. And we decided that, you know, we're going to take things from drop D to drop C, because I'm a fucking caveman that can't play guitar solos and sing at the same time. So I basically just play riffs and fucking and yell. And, you know, things have kind of evolved in kind of a little bit more of like a doomier direction, but still rock and roll. You know, kind of like more of like a Caius kind of feel.
Yeah, now you're speaking
yeah,
my language. You
yeah,
know,
dude.
I mean, it wasn't just the riff god of all time, Tony Iommi's idea to detune, but because he was trying to match Ozzy's vocal range, and suddenly it's the chunkiest fucking thing you've ever heard in your life.
For sure.
There's nothing better, just
Yeah.
nothing better.
Well, and also, like you said, with Ozzy's voice, like with me, like the entire time I was singing in Down to This, we started off, we were in drop A, then we were in B, and then we were in drop C. And so I sang, my vocals were in tune with drop C for about a good 10 years, right? So when I'm playing guitar in drop D or standard, I'm straining, you know, and I'm kind of having a hard time.
Yeah.
I didn't really realize that hey, your voice is an instrument, and you can't have two fucking instruments out of tune and have it sound good, you know.
Right.
So one day in practice, me and Joe were like, let's just tune to fucking drop C and see what happens. And then I was able to belt it out the way I wanted to. It didn't sound wonky and weird, and like, so we just and then we
that's tough.
then we realized how heavy it is, and we're just kind of like we've got more of a Danzig Caius kind of vibe. With a COC kind of dirtiness going on now, with that straight ahead Motorhead rock and roll, you know, and that's why we can't wait to fucking record our new shit, because, you know, we're gonna probably re-record, you know, like the stuff that's on the EP, because the way we play it now is different, and but we still, I mean, it's if you listen to the EP, you get the gist of what we're doing, but
for sure.
but I mean, you got new guys, so you're gonna sound different, you know what I mean?
Most definitely.
This is the most solid
before we actually get to that EP, we're going to take a quick commercial break to one of my favorite sponsors at Dezea's Creep Shop. Check it out. That's right. My good friend Dezea has been cooking up some of the most horrid looking things and up in her game over at the shop on Etsy.com. Her t-shirt game, her clothing line has totally like just flourished. She's got all those new designs you just saw. They are amazeballs. So if you're a classic horror fan, or, you know, just like anything oddity wise, you know, creepy, especially if you like doll collections, she does everything handmade. So please check her out at Dezea's Creep Shop at Etsy.com. So we're back with Locomotive Gun, frontman John Carter, and we're about to get into your EP here. So as I, you know, just kind of taking a look at it here on Spotify, which is where you can find them at Locomotive Gun. The song that has your namesake is your most popular song. So what is that actually about? Does it kind of entail, you know, some of the struggles coming up and just trying to get, you know, get the band going the way you want?
That song's about fucking.
Oh, let's talk about sex, baby. Tweet, tweet. No. Okay. All right. So we're talking about fucking.
Yeah.
I might know a little something about that.
Well, probably my biggest influence since I was in middle school and discovered music was Gene Simmons, the mighty fucking demon. So when I
Probably
had
more well known for his tongue than his bass playing. Just saying.
yeah, of course. Hey, you know what? I mean, it is what it is.
If you
But
got
yeah,
it,
I mean,
flaunt it. I get it.
yeah. I mean, you got to sell something. You might as well sell the whole package. I mean, including your tongue. I don't. Never really
Sure as
understood
hell
that
ain't his
shit.
hair.
Yeah, I like to call it black cotton candy.
Goddamn right.
Oh
All
fuck.
right.
But yeah, anyway, I mean, the song is pretty much like me and my old singer from Dead Man's Hand. We were joking around one time, and I just came up with the term. I don't know where the fuck it came from, and then he goes, "Locomotive Gun." He goes, "Is that like a dick?" And I'm just kind of like, I was like, "Sure, why not?" So we sat down. We kind of I wrote the lyrics. It's just kind of like 1,000,000 miles an hour, hammer coming down. Can you feel the power? It's on, no turning back. I got your fingernails scratching up and down my back. I mean, essentially, yeah. I mean, it's funny because I kind of, as being known as like the token straight edge guy in my entire group, I'm it's monogamous what I'm talking about there. So don't get it twisted, So I
Oh,
gotta.
trust me.
Yeah, well, actually, one
Yeah.
of the big
I'm the
influences for that
same.
is like the band Midnight, right? I fucking I love Athanar and I Vanek and those guys. And they got a song. I'm trying to remember the name of the song, but anyway, the one of the lyrics is the only gash I'll ever need, and it's a song about sex, but it comes to that line and he's talking about how like, hey, this is my one and only, right? And
Right.
and
Right.
I've been married since 2000, and
Oh, congrats, brother.
yeah, man, we've been together for 24 years. I mean, she's my best friend and my worst enemy.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and so she's fucking awesome. I love Jen to death, and so in a weird way, that song, kind of has like a meaning of, just everybody. I don't give a shit who you are. You can be the most politically correct person, the most straight edge person, the most pious person. I mean, sex is universal. I mean, it's people compare things to it constantly. It sells things, and if you're not thinking about it when you listen to rock and roll, really know what the fuck you're listening to. You know what I'm saying? And like,
Right.
and it's just, and I'm not trying to cop any sort of kind of like old school, like, okay, well, if you're singing rock and roll, you got to sing about chicks and partying and whatnot. But just kind of like all my lyrics are fucking stream of consciousness shit. I'll write some shit down and like, I have no idea what this means, so I'll give it meaning. And like that's kind of how that one farted itself out pretty much.
Oh,
But
fuck yeah. I mean, sometimes it just starts with like two lines and then you start writing around that. That's how I wrote most of the Black Flame because I was the lyricist, for that album.
that's really fucking cool. I mean, it's really great, like getting
Can't
to
sing a lick.
yeah. Well, I mean, and that's just the thing. Some of the best bands, the fucking singer didn't write a goddamn lyric. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
love them or hate them, for better or worse. Motley Crue, Nikki Sixx wrote all the fucking lyrics for
I was
Vince
gonna
Neil.
say, fucking Vince Neil didn't write a fucking thing. He was a face.
He's a fucking worthless turd. I swear to God.
Oh, I
Yeah,
can't
dude.
stand the motherfucker. Me and Genghis just shredded the fuck out of Motley Crue on one of our recent lists. And I have to bring it up constantly. Who the fuck are you? That's why they call him Motley Poo. That's
Motley
right.
Crue. That's the best. But I mean, yeah. So I mean, that's that getting to know you and kind of seeing kind of like the whole aesthetic and theme and vibe of Black Tar. It's kind of really cool to put a person to know who wrote those lyrics. You know what I'm saying, and kind of know where you're kind of coming from, and that when you get to know a band for what they're about and what the members are about, and that's really great. And the thing of it is with me, like kind of like on the flip side, like I wanted to write lyrics like I've never written before. I mean, being in a hardcore band, I would write songs about like, strength and integrity and positivity and just basically the whole, I love hardcore. Don't get me wrong. I love it just as
No,
much as I love
hardcore,
black metal.
original hardcore is fucking phenomenal.
The thing thing of it is, man, it's so steeped in tradition that it gets fucking stale. It's like, hey,
It
we're a
does.
band, we're a bunch of bald dudes with tattoos that are going to jump around and tell you how great being friends is. My friends are the best thing ever. Friends, friends,
That's so
friends.
true.
And then it's, and it's just kind of like, okay, that's fucking great. And the people that come to see hardcore, they want those lyrics, right? But I mean, I wanted to fucking write, rock and roll. And I'm like, okay, what are the type of lyrics from bands? I fucking love Danko Jones. I love the Helicopters. I love Glucifer. I love the Humpers.
Oh, Glucifer was fantastic.
Yeah,
but
dude.
they put all their stock in Hatebreed. I don't get it. There were so many other great bands. Cro-Mags.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
I'm a huge Cro-Mags fan myself. And what's really great is they've got Cro-Mags and Cro-Mags JM. And Cro-Mags JM just did a show in Tompkins Square Park. And it's
awesome.
John Joseph on vocals, and then Craig Satari from Sick of It All on bass. I don't know who else was in the band, but like John Joseph's got a great band called Blood Clot that's straight up fast, like Bad Brains type influence hardcore. That's fucking great. And Harley Flanagan's still trying to do the Harley Flanagan version of Cro-Mags. So that's great. But my whole thing is, after a while, I'm doing the same kind of shit for so long that I kind of wanted to do something different. But what was the most fucked up thing is, me and my old bass player from Down to This, who was the bass player for Locomotive Gun back in North Carolina, we play a show and people will they come up and say, oh, you guys are, it's about time a really good hardcore band plays. I'm like, we're a rock and roll band. So we were hearing in our head,
we're cock rock, god damn it.
Yeah, we're Motorheads, yeah, singing about penises and fucking, and cars and shit. But these guys, they hear my voice, they would see me and John were from Down to This. Oh, this is a new hardcore band, and it just so it for a while it was really kind of hard.
Never leaves you.
Nah, dude.
It's sad. It's like when I stepped out of death metal and decided to do my number one love, which is, Black Sabbath, Danzig, Down, Corrosion of Conformity, like that type of vibe. They're like, well, you're still doing double kicks. Yeah, because I know how to accent that shit. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Instead of like letting that, take the forefront like before. Sure. There's no blast beats or anything like that. So, but they're like, well, it's still too heavy to be Doom. I'm like, well, what the fuck okay.
Doom is synonymous with heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. There are multiple levels of heavy. I've been trying to teach people this for like forever. I'm like, just because, and let's face it, Sabbath and a lot of the original Doom bands taught the speed metal bands and the death metal bands the art of the breakdown. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, because, okay, one of my favorite breakdowns ever is on Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Oh, man. Great record. You know what I mean? That, to me, it's funny, I first heard that song when Anthrax covered it on the I'm the Man EP. And then I'm at fucking like some random, department store and looking at the cassettes, and I see this probably the coolest fucking like album cover out of the whole Black Sabbath discography. The album cover to Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, with the 666 on the headboard. I'm like, what kind of satanic shit is this? I love it. Yeah, and then I hear the Black Sabbath version, and I'm like, dude, that's nuts. And then after that, I hear the breakdown on Angel of Death by Slayer. Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. There's a reason for that. That's Sabbath all fucking day. And then guess what? 10 years later, every fucking metallic hardcore band is adding breakdowns that sound like fucking Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and Angel of Death. And I mean, people totally give respect, but it's just kind of like there's such a through line with like hardcore and Doom and and metal, and it's all intertwined at the end of the day. Dude, there's old blues bands like Cactus and Sir Lord Baltimore and and Bang and shit, dude, just like all these fucking like early 70s proto metal bands that never ever like even Pentagram started off in the fucking like the late 60s, early 70s. Exactly. And and the thing of it is, like, people think, oh yeah,
people always say, Judas Priest is metal, but like Black Sabbath is heavy, which is totally cool. However, the thing of it is, people got to understand, and you as a musician know this. You got that one band that broke through. Guess what? There's 8,000 other bands that are just didn't do what they did business wise to get above the surface, right? So
Absolutely.
while Black Sabbath is happening, there's all these heavy blues bands, because don't think for a second that when Tony Iommi down-tuned, that all these other blues bands didn't fucking down-tune as well. Even though their fucking fingertips weren't fucked up like Tony Iommi's, they're like, we're gonna go to fucking D standard. We're gonna play everything in B, and even like bands like fucking Cream and Blue Cheer, they were heavy as fuck too for their time, because the way they had their, they were playing through fucking the guitar players were playing through bass cabinets, which is what I do in Locomotive Gun. I play through a 215 cabinet with a PB standard head, or I'm a big PB guy. I got a PB Supreme 160, 6505, and this cabinet behind me is two bass 15s, and I usually run like a bass cabinet with a regular cabinet, but I actually found a old Gibson Lab Series 215 cabinet with Electro Voice speakers in it, and that thing sounds like the best guitar cabinet I've ever used. So one of my goals sonically,
amazing.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking it's well, and then my bass player, he's a big PV head too, so he plays a PV bass amp as well. So on stage, when we wheel our shit in, people are like, "Who's the bass player?" And I'm like, "Well, you know." So we're wheeling fucking bass top, because think about it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you want to be heavy, right? We want to be rock and roll, but we want to be heavy, so we just fucking play through bass gear, and. Because I mean, the Who did that with those Fender cabinets with the tens in it and shit. It's just like, so getting back to my original point, back when fucking Black Sabbath was starting out and shit, and when Judas Priest wasn't quite so metally, there was all these heavy as fuck bands that were just there since like the late 60s, because these guys were taking the brown acid, they were fucking smoking the bad weed. They were miserable because of fucking Vietnam. So with all the fucked up shit that was going on in the late 60s, dude, there was all these heavy fucking bands that no one will ever hear. Like Leaf Hound found its way into, people know about Leaf Hound. They know about fucking Captain Beyond and Sir Lord Baltimore and all these bands, from like late 60s and shit like that, but it's just kind of like, dude, heavy metal existed before heavy metal, and
yeah, they didn't even know what the fuck it was. To be quite honest, it wasn't until Sabbath came out in '69, and just completely, raised the bar, and they didn't even realize what the fuck they were doing.
They weren't even trying to. They out of necessity. They had to play slower and tune lower, and like you said, Ozzy's voice was so jacked up, and he needed to find something,
Totally was on that first record, and then I don't know what the fuck it was, but by Paranoid, he found his voice. It was amazing.
I think he found cocaine is what he found.
Oh well, there's no secret about that.
Oh yeah.
He found that, and probably took a vocal lesson or two. Just
yeah, it was probably down. Yeah, it was. You know how they say with like Van Halen that the only reason why
Diamond Dave,
because he had a PA. So I wonder what Ozzy's fucking ace in the hole was. He had a van. I don't know, some shit.
I don't know. He had long hair. He looked the part, and like all those fucking documentaries. They say they were just fucking Sharon. We love you, Ozzy. You're still one of my gods. You always will.
Oh be. Fuck yeah, dude! You cannot. I mean, actually, for I think it was Father's Day 2 years ago, my wife found a copy of Black Sabbath's first album, early pressing, at a flea market, and like,
holy shit, that's gotta be worth some moolah.
I love that. I love that record, man. That's fucking like, that's, yeah. I mean, it's funny because
the only first pressing I have is the compilation. We sold our souls for rock and roll.
Right on.
Still
man.
have that shit to this day.
That's actually the first Black Sabbath I ever owned. I had the double cassette of that back in the day. That's awesome. Yeah, dude.
That's how I discovered Iron Man.
Fuck yeah. You know how I discovered Iron Man? Road Warriors.
Don't tell me the fucking movie, goddammit.
No, the
I'm
Road
just
Warriors.
teasing.
My favorite fucking wrestling tag team of all time. They used to come out to Iron Man.
Yes, the Road Warriors.
And me and my friends were
WWE, NWA in the house.
yeah, we were like, what is this song? And then my friend Chad was like, my dad has this record. So we went and looked, and it's just like, it's the song, it's called Iron Man, you know, and we were scared shitless of the rest because we were like in fucking like second, third grade. We were scared shitless
You
of the
thought
rest
you were
of
about to get the elbow drop of doom.
Mm-hmm,
You did.
exactly.
As soon as they came out, you heard the music. Man, you thought you were about to get your ass fucking kicked.
I got a close.
That's it. That's it.
That's it.
You just got the elbow drop of doom. Yeah, that's a little something we tend to do when we're going through some of those, you know, top 20 lists of the best of all time or whatever. You know what's fucking funny? I hate to get off topic, but
No, we're just babbling shit, so it's all good.
My better half and I were in the car, and it's like every time I hear one of the bands that were like on the list of they're the most underrated, and then the song comes on like fucking Duran Duran, and I just look over and go, most underrated, huh?
Dude,
that shit was hilarious.
When I was in elementary school, you could not like you couldn't breathe without hearing like a Duran Duran song somewhere. I mean, they were like
for sure.
Yeah, it's just,
everybody was getting down to Hungry Like a Wolf.
Dude, and you know what? You go back to that first album, Rio. Me and my youngest son, like he just got on this big.
Shit.
Dude, that album's amazing. Dude, I don't care who you are, dude. Duran Duran was a fucking rock band, dude. They
were. They were like the only one that wasn't driven by like the electronica that was starting to come out during that time. No, they were just a very intelligent rock band. Just groove all the way.
When they had any synth or any keyboards, it was very tastefully used as accent because their fucking bass player, I think Mick Taylor, their bass player.
Oh my damn. That's got boom, 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 boom. I mean, he was just fucking just jamming.
I thought it was like punk rock disco, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, it was, they're fucking, yeah. I mean, yeah. That's so funny, that whole underrated thing, because I've always, my theory about that is you've got people that have certain things on their radar, right? So people are paying.
Oh yeah, for sure.
People are paying attention to certain shit, and they're not paying attention to whatever. And then something comes across the radar that I hadn't thought of. Oh, that's underrated. I'm like, actually, there's people that were super into this when you weren't paying attention. So it's underrated to you because you just discovered it right now. Like I was talking to somebody about different like kind of like goth bands, and I was like, yeah, I made the mistake of saying, dude, Fields of Nephilim was very underrated. And he goes, you're fucking full of shit. He goes,
I said the same thing about Bauhaus.
Yeah. I mean, okay. To me, Fields of Nephilim was very underrated in the fact that usually people talk about Joy Division, Bauhaus.
Oh, yeah.
New absolutely. Order, you know, which is great. I fucking love all those bands. But the thing of it is,
they're great. They just got more airtime.
Exactly. And Fields also popped up a little bit later. You know what I mean? And like, because to me, you know, they were
early Ministry.
Dude, I'm telling you, Twitch is fucking sick. I don't know. It's just listen to a different band. I mean, dude, and like, okay, and probably my favorite underrated band of that whole genre is fucking Sisters of Mercy. They
were cock fucking rock. Loved it.
Dude,
what was it? The Vampire's Lullaby, I think it was called, or something like that. I still rock that shit.
Vision Thing is, dude, Vision Thing is my jam. I had the 12-inch.
That whole album was gold.
Floodland could be a fucking soundtrack to a really awesome fucking dystopic movie, you know? Floodland was the shit. But like,
for sure.
But yeah, that whole thing. But you know, as it stands right now, though, like I said, I mean, if people forgot about them for a while, and then they're underrated, and then they come back and do a reunion thing. I mean, you've got like, you know, like Bauhaus.
Incretion. That's the one.
Yeah, dude, the bass line on that is fucking sick, dude. Doom, 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 doom,
Yeah.
doom, doom. Fuck.
And it was just like, I mean, bands like that, like, had something to do with Rammstein. And then
Yeah,
Rammstein
dude.
took it, Depeche
Mhm.
Mode. I mean, they covered Depeche Mode and took it to a whole eviler fucking
Mhm.
level. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and the thing of it is too, you get people that they work backwards. They found Rammstein, and then they do their research and do their homework and find out where it all kind of comes from. And sometimes they're
Fuck
like, okay,
yeah.
well, they're like later Rammstein. I've found Laibach. I've found fucking Mission UK. You find all these other
KMFDM in the house.
dude. You know what's funny? I've recently become a fan of KMFDM. They've always been around forever, right? And I was sitting here going, I was like, to me, I thought they were like do you remember the band Pigface?
Oh, Pigface. Who the fuck
Yeah,
doesn't know them? And if you
dude.
don't, there's something fucking wrong with you.
You got Pigface, Revolting Cocks, Ministry,
Ah,
and that whole thing. And I thought the KMFDM was kind of like a cheap Pigface, right? And then
for
I
sure.
fucking got into him, and a good friend of mine, he's a huge fan of like a lot of industrial stuff, and he goes, dude, no, this is basically like this is the music to fucking just fuck people up to if you're into industrial. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, it's like
That's so
KMFDM.
true.
They're like if industrial music had fucking like thrash death genre. I mean, it's relentless. I mean, for real,
Oh,
it's just like,
it never stops.
mhm. Yeah, and then you get pieces of
Skinny
shit like
Puppy was
fucking
the same way.
Skinny Puppy was kind of like they were like a fun bum out. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be bummed the fuck out. I'm gonna fucking dig it. So let's listen to fucking Skinny Puppy. You know what I mean? That's what that was all about.
For sure.
They had a worse day than you did, and you enjoyed every fucking bit of listening to it. So,
Oh, fuck yeah. Absolutely. It also amazes me that most people don't realize that the Misfits started in the late 70s.
yes, the Cough Cool 7-inch with Return of the Fly. When
Yes.
it was just Glenn and a keyboard, and I think he might have had like a really rudimentary drum machine, like one of those. Remember those? It's like a not like Farfisa, but like one of those keyboards that
Oh, yeah.
he
Mm-hmm.
I swear I read somewhere, I could be totally wrong, that he wrote some of his early stuff with one of his mom or somebody, or he bought one at a flea market or whatever. He had that where you could get the beat like a
Yep.
beat, and then he could play along with it, right? And it was
Yep.
like it was like a primitive version of like say something that like Kraftwerk, or something, you know what I mean? And
Oh, hell yeah.
so because you listen to that fucking like that Cough Cool, and it's just like with the really sparse drums. I wouldn't be surprised if he fucking sat in a room with a keyboard and just did the whole thing. I mean, that's so fucking cool, man. And like the fact that people don't really go back that far to really see what Misfits were really about. I mean, you got like when Arthur Googie was on drums,
Right.
and then fucking like who was that guy that had the band Undead? Johnny, what the fuck? The guitar player before Doyle. Anyway, but
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I know
I
what
got
you're talking about.
people are probably screaming at their fucking screen right now, call me a fucking poser, but yeah, dude, fucking the Misfits, they were, it was just Glenn in his fucking bedroom at one point in time, more or less.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I can clearly, just going through your first EP, I can hear the influences. They are there, and it comes out. Your voice is very strong. And honestly, I feel Omaha is very lucky to have you guys coming tomorrow.
I appreciate that, man.
For sure. Me moving from Ohio, which is a very, there's a lot of doom, stoner rock, death metal, a lot of black metal that's going on. Since I've come to, Plattsmouth, Nebraska, that's where I live. It's really interesting to see just the dichotomy, because I represent a lot of KingSide bands, actually. Drop Dead Damn It, Rid Them All, just a plethora of stuff. And we're actually going to take a quick commercial break to see the bands of Terror Crew Productions, Ohio, Nebraska. Somewhere. That's right. If I feel you have what you the fucking stuff, and you're wanting to go to the next level, as a matter of fact, we just had Grave Next Door join me as part of the Terror Crew family. Send me your shit. All the links are there, and let's fucking make history together. That's how I feel. If I feel that everyone out there is going to love you, I will do whatever it takes to get you out there. So check me out at Terror Crew Productions, Ohio, Nebraska, Instagram. All right. So we're in the final moments of the show. What do you want to say to all the fans that you've probably made, during this broadcast, and what message do you want to leave them with?
Honestly, the thing about what Locomotive Gun is kind of about is really worrying about what's going on in your scene, musically or creatively, but do your own thing while you still support others and pay it forward. You're not an island. You need the other bands and the venues and the promoters just as much as they need you. And you might not enjoy the music of another band, but I'm not going to like your band if you're a fucking dick. If you're a piece of shit.
Absolutely.
There's people that are in bands that I don't enjoy the music, but I like their band. I like them as people, and I'll support them all day. And then there's people that are like like, I like their music, but like I don't like the fact that they're not really supporting what else is going on. And it's just kind of like you can't really get behind it if they're local, or if they're in your scene, because really what that does is it damages the whole vibe. It damages what the scene, because if you get people that are trying to take it over or compete with others or do just stupid shit in the sake of trying to make themselves look cool, it's going to turn people off from wanting to start bands. It's going to turn people off from wanting to go to shows. And mind your own fucking business if you don't want to deal with other people. That's fine. If you want to like do your band and go elsewhere and play shows out of the area, that's fucking great too. But don't come back into your scene like you own it because you've done stuff outside of it and expect people to fucking respect you. And there's a lot of bands that, like, quite frankly, their local scene is just not for them. It's like, hey, people don't support this kind of music, so we're going to go where they do support it. I mean,
For sure.
you've probably seen it all day because there's some scenes where it's like
everywhere.
They cater to a certain genre, right? And then you let's say you throw a black metal band in the middle of a bunch of indie rock and like emo and hardcore bands, unless those people in that band are cool fucking people, they're friends with the people in those other bands, they will get support. But if you come in here and go, oh, we're not like the others, so fuck everybody else, then you're not going to last very fucking long.
Nope,
and
especially in the underground.
yeah, and one thing not to fucking be like a shill for KingSide, but one thing I think is really fucking great is all cards on the table, in all candidness. I love the fact that Gabe is cleaning house. He sees there's people that aren't really doing their part or doing their share for the scene, not just for like the label, but just for the scene in general. Because if someone sees a certain band that's on a label and they'll, oh, okay, what are they doing? Well, nothing. Let's find out why. Okay, COVID fucked them. They got to find new members. That's fine. And that's what we went through, whatever. So Gabe had Gabe could have been like, okay, well, you know what, you guys, I haven't seen much from you. I was moving and blah, blah, blah. But there's some bands that like they're in a thriving scene. They've got venues all around them. They got other bands they can play with, and they're not doing a fucking thing. I'm a big time shameless opportunist, dude. If I see somebody that's got something that I can find useful, and if I have something that they can find useful, I will fucking share and trade all fucking day. I'm the classic case. If we're sitting having a conversation and you're like, hey, I kind of like bands that are like this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, you should check out this band, this band, this band, this band. Hold on, I'm going to go home, make you a fucking mixtape, come back and show you this. You need to check this shit out. Not trying to go, hey, dude, I'm fucking rad because I'm into all these bands you never heard of, dude. And I'm not going to share. It's like, no. You need to fucking know about bands A, B, D, and C because you love this shit. You just don't know what's out there. Let me fucking help you discover shit. Because I have people that help me growing up. And my whole thing is, the second message is this. Help people discover shit that they don't know that they're going to fucking love. You know what I mean? And
most definitely.
That's just,
it's not like forcing it down their throat either.
No, it's just kind of like, hey, what brings me up is you got that person that they want to be the person to discover it. You show them, hey, check out band X, okay? It's all right. 2 months later, dude, I'm all about band X. I found them on fucking Spotify. I'm like, motherfucker, I showed them to you 2 weeks ago because you said you like bands like this. So you know what? As long as you're into it, that's fucking cool. I'm not trying to gain glory, but I'm sitting here going, look, dude, nobody gives a shit that you discovered it on your fucking own. There's a vast world of music out there. You've got the internet, but it's just kind of like, I want to help people get exposed to the stuff they want to get exposed to. Because how many times have you been sitting around going, oh, I like this kind of shit. Like, dude, the entire time where you were listening to these bands, this other shit was going on and you didn't even fucking know about it. And then you find out and you go down a fucking rabbit hole and it's the best thing ever.
You got to have an open mind.
Absolutely. And the thing of it is, you can have at the same time that you got to have an open mind, you can also have a very healthy closed mind because you can basically build your own filter. I'm not going to let bullshit into my fucking bubble. I'm not going to fucking let
it's like negative energy.
Exactly. And dude, and there's bands, just as well, there's bands that that like they got into it for nefarious reasons or they're just kind of faking the funk on a certain trend and they're not going to last because I like bands in my old age that are mainstays. Like, hey, so-and-so is still doing it. And then you get to that point where like, they're a little bit too old to be fucking trying to relive, their old days. Why don't you start a new fucking band? You know what I'm saying? But, I'll digress on that point. But the bottom line is it's kind of like, if you are doing it because you really fucking love it, that's great. Then what you do is you take that love and that passion, put that towards doing it in a professional manner so you can market it and monetize it. God forbid you want to monetize your fucking hard work and fucking make money off of what the fuck you do. No, my whole thing is I want to do a band successful enough to where I'm not losing money, where I'm making enough money to keep going. Because you ask anybody that I know, I look forward to band practice twice a week. And then I also hate band practice twice a week because I want to be on stage so fucking bad. And then when I'm on stage, I'm fucking freak. I want to get off the fucking stage because I want to fucking record new shit. And then when I'm in the studio recording, I fucking hate being in the studio because I want to go out and fucking play. So I love the shitty side of it. I love the love-hate of being in a fucking band. I love the whole process. I love getting to a show and having to wait fucking 4 hours before you go on. I love getting to a show and they said, hey, you motherfuckers are late. Put your gear on stage and play right fucking now. It's 5 o'clock. Nobody's in here, but you're going to fucking play anyway. But you know what? You give them a good show and you fucking use it as fucking live band practice, you know? It's just, I'm completely fucking Bruce Lee about it, dude. I'm like water. Just be water with it. If you love the taste of that water, drink the fuck out of that water, be that water, share that water. Because if you're doing a fucking band and you're not supporting others, helping people find their fucking way, influencing others, I mean, you know, it's all about paying it forward and, you know, manifesting things with your will to the point to where like, hey, I'm planting this fucking seed through my positive energy. Hopefully you understand what the fuck I'm doing. So you take that and fucking feed it forward instead of just stagnating and building nothing but negative energy and fucking just bringing all kinds of toxic shit. Most scenes right now that I've encountered suffer from a lot of fucking toxic energy, infighting, all kinds of bullshit. But then you got the scenes where, like you said, the underground, which can be construed in a lot of ways, the underground, everyone needs each other. All the bands need each other. All the people involved need each other. Think about the people that you know that can't play an instrument. They don't want to be on fucking stage at all. They're terrified of fucking public speaking in crowds, but they will be at every fucking show. They will make zines. Yep. They will do fucking distros. They'll show up to a show with a bunch of fucking CDs and records and selling shit. They'll fucking screen print shirts. They'll offer their fucking graphic design. They'll do podcasts. Do something. Do fucking something. All those things, you know, they're very fucking important because that's the way you learn about new music. That's the way you support existing bands. That's the way that you basically, you know, get the fucking, you know, get the shit out of your system. You know, so you don't fucking kill yourself or others. You know what I mean? It's just, it's cyclical. It's a snake eating its tail, man. You know what I mean? If you're going to be involved with music, understand that it's all fucking, yeah, exactly. 100%.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. I know you guys are going to kill it tomorrow. Those of you in the Omaha area, if you've been watching tonight, make sure you get your asses to that show. But most importantly, stay heavy.